Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. Welcome to episode 97 of the Old Mage MTG podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have another episode with a little bit of old magic and a little bit of new magic for you. Every once in a while, we do that. We sprinkle in some new stuff with the old stuff. First, we're going to talk about a classic deck from the Mirage Visions era, a deck that I believe is the first pure combo deck to really make waves at the highest competitive levels. And then we're going to have a look at some of the Bloomburrow spoilers. I think the set has been totally spoiled now, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know if, I mean, we're not going to talk about the commander decks. Do you know if the commander decks have been spoiled? If they've done
Yes,
that?
they have also.
Yeah, okay. We know nearly nothing about Modern, so this is just to warn everybody. But we do like squirrels, we like frogs, we like otters, we like assorted critters, we like sick fantasy art. So we're going to have a look at some of the cards from Bloomburrow. It looks like a fun set to play. If you enjoy the show, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube or whatever podcast app you use. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a comment too, if you so choose. If you would like to support us while building your Magic collection at the same time, consider making your next TCG player purchase using our affiliate link. We'll have an affiliate link in the description to the video below. You just click on that link, you put the cards into your cart, you buy them. They show up at your front door. We get a tiny little percentage. It helps support the podcast. Now let's get into today's first topic. Segment 1, I'm calling Something Old, ProsBloom. In episode 93 of the podcast, if you go back 4 episodes now, we discussed a deck called Voodoo, Alex. You remember that deck? That was a black-red deck with some Minotaurs in it.
Okay.
It was the deck that was piloted by Mark Justice in 1997 at Pro Tour Paris. He came in second place in that Pro Tour tournament to the man who I believe designed his deck. He designed Voodoo. This man also designed the deck that won that tournament. That man was MTG supervillain Mike Long. That's him right here with this no fear cap looking just dastardly, looking intimidating across the table. I call him supervillain Mike Long because he has a whole Wikipedia page here. And he's known for deck design, for intimidating gameplay, for trash talk, and also for some cheating. There were some issues, potential issues with the man cheating and high-level competitive play. In 1998, U.S. Nationals, Long was the subject of controversy over his potential act of cheating when a key card from his combo deck was found on Long's chair during a game. The head judge issued a match loss to Long, who went on to finish second in the tournament. I don't know if he's ever commented on this or not, but, you know, when you're playing a combo deck, for instance, and you got like a combo piece just sitting on your chair, it's kind of suspicious. I could see why they would,
Yeah.
Maybe issue a loss in that case. He's also the featured, he's on the art of Rootwater Thief.
Oh, okay.
We've talked before about the Magic Invitational cards. People who win nationals, they would end up on a card. Sylvan Safekeeper's one. Dark Confidant is one. Rootwater Thief is a Magic Invitational card, and that's Mike Long's Magic Invitational card, printed in Nemesis. He's also a Hall of Fame member. There were some other issues too here. During Pro Tour Los Angeles in 2000, Long had been given a warning for improperly shuffling his deck. He was disqualified without prize and given a 1-month suspension for presenting a deck that was not sufficiently randomized. I don't know the details of that. I don't know how they decided it wasn't sufficiently randomized. I don't know if they just had some judges come over and take a look and it looked suspicious to them. Don't know anything about it, but he's a controversial figure in the history of Magic, but he's also a Hall of Famer and a great deck builder. The deck that he played in 1997 Paris, the deck that we're going to talk about today, is the ProsBloom deck. That's the deck he used to beat Mark Justice on Voodoo. If you're interested, you can watch the entire final match on the Ancient CS YouTube channel. They post a bunch of classic Magic the Gathering matches. I think I forgot to pull that up. Oh, no, it's right here. Okay. Pro Tour Paris 1997 final, Mark Justice versus Mike Long, Ancient CS. 9 years. 9 years ago. This is a channel we mentioned before on the podcast. They have a lot of old 90s era tournament videos. They ripped them from VHS, it looks like, and then stuck them up here on YouTube. Whoa. I gotta plug in my Computadora. That's important, Alex. I should have did this before we started the show. That's important to do. Whew. Okay.
Gotta have the juice.
Saved it. But let's get into ProsBloom. The deck is named after one card from Visions, that's Prosperity, and one card from Mirage, that's Cadaverous Bloom. This is usually how people come up with names of their decks. They'll pick one or two, usually two key cards from the deck, and they'll just smush the names together, and then you got the name ProsBloom. I found this article. What did you say?
Or pick a cereal.
Or pick a cereal, yeah. I found this article in the Duelist. This is issue 19 of the Duelist, written by Beth Moursund. She was a part of the MTG Rules design and development team. She was part of the development team for Invasion Block, Urza's Saga, some other sets. She was also a writer. You can see, she wrote for the Duelist. Alex, she's also the author of the Magic the Gathering official encyclopedia, which you have right behind you on that desk in your room, in the room that you are recording in. Beth Mo is the author of that. And she wrote this ProsBloom primer in the Duelist that I pulled up right here. And we're going to go through this. It teaches you all about the different cards in ProsBloom, how to play ProsBloom. So she starts off describing the singular plan of the mage while playing ProsBloom. In a typical Bloom match, the Bloom player does next to nothing for 3 to 5 turns and appears to be on the verge of losing. Then in one turn, he or she plays a sequence of cards that feed on each other, recursively drawing more and more cards, building up a huge mana pool. The final game-ending blow is a massive drain life, often cast from a 0 or negative life position. So it's a combo deck. It's a pure combo deck. It's really kind of a glass cannon. Like she says, nothing usually happens for a few turns until it goes off. If you're a blue mage and you have lots of counter magic, it'll be difficult for the ProsBloom player to actually get things going. But if you're playing a deck that doesn't have, counters, doesn't have much interaction, and can't kill your opponent very quickly, ProsBloom is going to eventually build up mana and end the game in a single turn with a giant drain life. If you're not familiar with some of the cards in the deck, I wanted to pull up Mike Long's championship deck from 1997 Pro Tour Paris. Show these cards to you. So this is Bloom Drain, PT 1997 Paris. Mike Long. The single kill condition, the single win con is the drain life. One drain life. So it's all about generating a ton of mana, feeding it in a drain life, bringing your opponent from 20 to 0. In this article, she divides all the cards up in the deck into 4 different groups. Those groups being mana production, card draw, card selection, and prevention. So I'm going to go through these different groups. Now, the first group, mana production. The purpose of these cards are to fuel everything. And the cards that help you produce mana in this deck are Cadaverous Bloom, Squandered Resources, and Natural Balance. So they're all critical cards. Every ProsBloom deck from this time ran these 3 cards in 4 ofs. So Cadaverous Bloom is 3 colorless, 1 black, 1 green enchantment. Choose a card in your hand, remove it from the game. When you do that, you add either 2 black or 2 green to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. So it's a high mana cost enchantment, but when you get it out, you can convert cards in your hand into 2 mana, either of the green or black variety. Squandered Resources is a lower casting cost enchantment. It's just 1 black, 1 green. Sacrifice a land, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type the sacrificed land could produce. Play this ability as a mana source. So it provides you with some ramp because you can play a land, you can tap it for a mana, and then you could also then sacrifice it to Squandered Resources to get 2 mana out of every 1 land that you played. Natural Balance, people probably know those cards. I don't know if people play much Natural Balance these days. I think this is a lesser known card from Mirage. It is 2 colorless, 2 green sorcery. Each player controlling 6 or more lands sacrifices enough lands to reduce his or her land total to 5. So if you have more than 5 lands, when Natural Balance is played, you're going to go down to 5. Each player controlling 4 or fewer lands may search his or her library for enough basic land to bring his or her land total to 5 and put those lands into play. Those players shuffle their library afterwards. So in this article, she mentions these different ways to generate a bunch of mana. All this mana is used to fuel card draw, essentially. So this brings us to the second group of cards. The card draw cards, these are Prosperity and Infernal Contract. So Prosperity is an X spell. 1 blue X sorcery, each player draws X cards. So all this mana you can generate with Cadaverous Bloom, with Squandered Resources. You can feed into Prosperity to generate more cards or to draw more cards that you can then again use to pitch to Cadaverous Bloom to generate more mana to feed into something else. Maybe another Prosperity, maybe an Infernal Contract. So Infernal Contract is the other card draw spell that was available in this format. That is 3 black sorcery, pay half your life, round it up, draw 4 cards. And just to remind you, I don't know if I said this, but the Pro Tour Paris 1997 tournament was a Mirage Visions only tournament.
Oh, okay.
So you're limited in the type of card draw spells you can run. Prosperity and Infernal Contract were really the best available. Back to the article. Bethmo says, Prosperity and Infernal Contract are the key cards here and usually come in groups of 4. 3 Wishes is occasionally used to help get things rolling, even though its set-aside cards can't be discarded for Bloom. So you do have one other option here, and it's the lesser played option. Not all of the ProsBloom decks from this era ran 3 Wishes. Mike Long ran it as a 1 of instead of a 4 of, which a lot of these cards are present in 4 ofs. It's 2 blue, 1 colorless, instant. Take the top 3 cards from your library, look at them, set them aside face down. You may play those cards as though they were in your hand at the beginning of your next turn. Bury any of those cards played. So it's an instant.
Not played.
Let you look at 3 cards, but it doesn't benefit you in the same ways that like the cards drawn from Prosperity do, because you can't then pitch them to Cadaverous Bloom to generate more mana. So it's the lesser of the card draw spells that are in the deck. So you have mana generation, card draw. Third group, card selection. So these cards really serve the same purpose in this deck as they do in all combo decks. To increase the odds of getting the necessary cards to set up combinations. So they help you find your combo pieces. You can run Vampiric Tutor, Limdol's Vault, Impulse, Mystical Tutor, all fill this need directly. Mike Long ran Vampiric Tutor as 4-ofs, also 4 Impulses, and then I wrote Limdol's Vault. He didn't choose Limdol's Vault.
Oh, okay.
It's not present in his 1997 deck unless I forgot to put it in. How many cards are in this deck that I added to Moxfield? 60. Yeah, okay. So he's not a Limdol's Vaulter, but some people are Limdol's Vaulters. Oh, I know why it's not in this tournament. Because this was Mirage Visions only.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But sometimes you will see Limdol's Vault in ProsBloom, just not in a tournament that's Mirage Visions only. Elven Cache is a lesser known card. This is one I actually didn't remember. He mentioned that he ran this.
Cash, right?
Yeah. It could be useful against a discard. 2 colorless, 2 green sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your owner's hand. Sorry. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. And then the 4th category of cards, Prevention. So I mentioned earlier, this deck is a bit of a glass cannon. You're opening yourself to disruption. If you can't assemble your combo, you don't have anything else to do. If your drain life gets countered, you don't have anything else to do. You're in trouble. So one way to deal with that is to run your own counter magic, your own permission. So the article says, to stop an opponent from throwing a wrench into the works, any counter spells will work here. Memory Lapse, Arcane Denial, Force of Will are favorites. We called this cluster Prevention rather than Permission. I think I might have just said Permission, but she calls it Prevention, and she explains why. Though because of City of Solitude, the other favorite, some Bloom decks have no permission spells, relying on City of Solitudes to draw all the counterspells from an opponent's hand and to make any other interference impossible. Some designs also include discard effects, usually coercion, to remove anything an opponent could use to stop the combination from working. So she calls it prevention because you don't need counter magic necessarily. You could go the City of Solitude route. You could yourself go the discard route, try to force your opponent to discard their counter spells. PT 1997, we see Memory Lapse. We see 1 Power Sink. That's about it. Sideboard. Some additional counter magic, Memory Lapse, Power Sink, City of Solitude. So sometimes he goes the City of Solitude route. Also, if you're playing like against a really aggro deck and you just need to slow them down a little bit, he can sideboard in Elephant Grass or Wall of Roots.
Okay.
And then Drain Life. Drain Life is the win con. All of this is designed to assemble your combo, generate mana, and kill your opponent with a single Drain Life. From the article, the author says, notice that we didn't include Drain Life as part of the cluster. The Bloom player doesn't need or even want to draw Drain Life until after finishing the combo. Often the whole deck will have passed through the player's hand at that point, so only one is needed, especially if Elven Cache is in the deck. Most Bloom decks include 2 or 3 Drain Lives for insurance against discard effects, and in case the Bloom player must start the combination too early to count on getting through the whole deck. So, if you're running more than one Drain Life, it's some backup against counterspell, some backup against discard. It also allows you to just like drain for 15 and then finish later by drain for 5 if you so choose.
Okay.
There were 2 other people that played this deck that made the top 8 at PT 1997. I have their decks pulled up too. They're all very, very similar. Bloom Drain was also played by Sturlabingen. Probably not pronouncing that correctly, but I'm doing my best. I also have problems with words like cache and cache. It happens sometimes. You can see they main deck. So if I were building this deck, I don't have balls of steel like Mike Long. I don't just go one drain life. I'm a bit of a chicken. I'd do 2 drain life. I'd also be afraid of creatures. I'd probably be more prone to running 2 Wall of Roots in the main deck. He didn't bother with it. So we have some differences here. 2 Wall of Roots goes with 2 drain life. Also 4 mystical tutors. It's part of his tutor package. The other deck was played by Henning Rimkus. I think it was exactly the same. So, no, sorry, 1 extra drain life. So he goes 3 drain life, 2 Wall of Roots, 2 mystical tutors, main
Ah.
board, City of Solitude. So Sturla also main boarded City of Solitude. So the difference being that, Mike Long just goes full in on, I'm going to do nothing, at least in game 1, but try to assemble my combo and kill you with this 1 drain life. I'm going all in on that. The other decks, they're a little bit more, I want to say they're like, in my mind, they look a little bit more robust against like varied decks because you have a little bit of insurance here in the Wall of Roots to block some early game creatures that your opponent might put out. Also another way to provide you with some ramp. You have some main board City of Solitudes if you sit down for game 1 against somebody who's running heavy counter spells. Mike's was just more aggressive. I guess he ran some main board counter spells too in lieu of the City of Solitudes. But these decks that look a little bit more robust, I'm calling them more robust. They did not win the tournament. They top aided, but they did not win the tournament. The tournament was won with the guy who played no Wall of Roots and only 1 drain life.
I wonder with the drain life, like, I know there was nothing like this back then, and I'm struggling. I'm wondering if you can think of something in pre-modern that's like a counter that removes the spell from the game. Something that I could like counter your drain life with, and then the drain life is exiled.
I think something like that existed even in Mirage, but I don't see it.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, that's just one thing I'd think about running only 1 drain life. I'm like, what if this gets removed from the game, you know?
Wasn't Dissipate like that?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, good call.
Counter
Good call.
target spell. Remove that
Well, that's
spell from the game.
right in Mirage.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I had it at the top of my mind because I just bought one for a nickel the other day when I was digging
Oh
through a
yeah.
bulk box. There's my nickel Dissipate, baby. So yeah, I mean, this is a card he could have been facing. Like I said, 1 drain life is crazy.
Well, I mean, I understand it in that, like, I've always kind of felt that way about like only having, your one finisher, one card as a finisher in a deck. But, some decks do that and they're generally designed to get through their deck,
Yeah.
really fast and get to it. So, I see how it works. I'm just worried about that, like, possible, possibly getting hung up with something that my opponent uses.
Yeah. This ProsBloom deck too, it makes me appreciate Natural Balance more, which is a card that I never really appreciated. But
I forgot about this card.
when I look at this card in this deck, I'm like, okay, like a key part of your deck is this 5 mana enchantment, Cadaverous Bloom.
Yeah.
Got to get to 5 mana, and then you can start doing your thing. But really, if you have Natural Balance in your deck, it's almost like 4 more ways to get out your Cadaverous Bloom and to get it out a turn earlier. Like
Hmm.
you really just need to hit 4 lands. If 2 of them are forced, you can play Natural Balance, and then you can go through your library to get 5 basic lands to play your Cadaverous Bloom on turn 4. So it's like a way to turn 4 your Cadaverous Bloom.
No, you only get enough lands to bring it up to 5, right?
Each player controlling 4 or fewer lands may search his or her library for enough basic land to bring his or her land total to 5 and put those into play. That is correct. What I'm not mentioning is you have the Squandered Resources out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so you could
That's
sack the
key.
lands to bring your total down after you tap them for the
Yes.
mana. Okay.
Yeah. So that is a very important part, and it's good that you didn't just say yes and go along with what I was saying, and you pointed that out because yeah, it works really nicely if you have the squandered resources there to sack the lands. I mean, technically, you could have a black and a green, right? You have a swamp and a forest out. You tap each one, you sack each one. You've now generated 2 black mana, 2 green mana. If you have a natural balance in your hand, you can
Yeah,
then cast natural balance on
get
turn
5 lands.
2. You have no lands, search for 5 lands, and then you have enough mana for your Cadaverous Bloom already on
Ah,
turn.
dang. Okay.
So it's, yeah, when you really learn, think about how these combo pieces work together, you see how it can act so fast, function so quickly, as long
Another
as you
thing I
have.
was wondering is like how this deck would hold up against land destruction early on. Because the idea is that it's sitting there not doing anything, but if they're destroying your lands, you don't get enough mana to build up for your combo. But natural balance gets around the land destruction thing, and squandered resources also helps with it because you can at least get mana out of them before they get destroyed.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's still going to be it's a difficulty, but yeah, there's potential to play around it,
yeah.
or not even play around it, just play through it. I should say. But that's ProsBloom. These are the original ProsBloom decks from 1997. They've inspired me to build some ProsBloom in pre-modern. One of the nice things about it, I mean, one of the nice things about it is it's a fairly cheap deck to build in pre-modern, because the most expensive card up until like last week that I'm looking at here is Vampiric Tutor, and Vampiric Tutor isn't even legal in pre-modern. So pretty much you just got to get yourself a Drain Life, Elven Cash, Infernal Contract, Natural Balance. These are all cheap cards.
Yeah.
Cadaverous Bloom's like $5-6 right now if you want them light play. It's pretty cheap. But
But
unfortunately, yeah, like last week, I started, but the last card that I needed to pick up a playset of for the deck is a playset of Squandered Resources. I was going to get one a month. I started buying one 2 months ago. Uh, the the copy I got in early July, arrived about a week ago. I think I bought it for like $22 light play, somewhere around there.
well, at least good timing on that one.
Yeah, but now I got two more that I want to buy, and
I
they've
know.
gone just
I bet the
absolutely through
person
the
who sold
roof.
it to you is mad.
I don't know. I don't care about that person. That's okay. They can deal with it. Listen, they got $22 from me. Odds are they paid way less than $22 for it, I'm assuming, especially if it
Yeah.
was a store, they gave somebody like 5 or $10 for it.
Mhm. I
So
know.
they made their profit, man. That's just how it works. Also, sometimes you'll sell a card and it'll spike right away, but sometimes also they buy a card and then after they buy it, it spikes. So they just bought something for $5 and they're selling
I
it for $50 a
all
week
evens
later.
out, hopefully.
It
Yeah.
work it works out. I don't feel bad for this person that sold that Squandered Resources. They're doing all right. But Squandered Resources, damn man, like look at it's going vertical.
Yeah.
It's
And you
going
said you know
vertical.
why?
I asked the internet why, and they told me.
Ah.
They told me it was because of Gitrog.
Ah, okay.
I'm going to light. I'm doing a condition light play right now. Squandered Resources light play now running $42 at the cheapest plus shipping. Really, it's like a $50 card now, and there aren't that many $50 light play copies even left. What am I looking at? One, two, three, four, 5 copies available under $50. Well, this guy has 4.
That guy is for you.
The Sparrow
But
Magic.
still, not too many.
Not too many. 14 listings total light play. People told me it was because of Gitrog. Yeah, there's this card, which I didn't know about because we don't play modern, but I'm learning.
It's one of
The
the cards I've heard
Gitrog,
of in passing. People mention it, and I've seen an art treatment or two, I think.
the Gitrog Monster, which I think it was originally printed in Shadows over Innistrad. It's been around since 2017. People have played it. It was about $5 until it was announced it was reprinted in Bloomburrow, and I guess people rediscovered it, so they're buying it up right now because it looks fun to play with. This is the Bloomburrow treatment,
I like that.
Bloomburrow printing, at least the borderless.
That looks awesome.
The Gitrog Monster, 3 colors, 1 black, 1 green. Legendary creature, Frog Horror, 6/6 with Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog Monster unless you sacrifice a land. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. So I would think originally reading this, I'm like, this causes, I mean, when you have this creature out, you have to sacrifice lands to it during your upkeep. So why would you want to combine another card that you sacrifice lands to with the Gitrog Monster when you're sacrificing lands? That seems like a great way to end up with not many lands. But when you put it in with if you sacrifice something to a land to Squandered Resources, you also then get to draw an additional card. So sacrificing to Squandered Resources triggers one of the beneficial abilities of the Gitrog Monster. Also, you run it in decks where you don't mind having lands in your graveyard. I was doing a little bit of Googling and I found an old article that was written on Hipsters of the Coast. I had it pulled up here, but we're lagging, so I closed out some windows because I think my internet's struggling a little bit. But this was an article I think that was written in like 2018 about building Gitrog and Vintage. And they combined it, they ran it in decks with Squandered Resources back then, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And they would put it in decks that also ran like Crucible of Worlds, and I'm sure a bunch of other things that allow you to either play lands from your graveyard or bring lands back from your graveyard. So they're just two good cards to pair together in decks that play well with lands in your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a new thing. It's not a new interaction. It's just, I think, an interaction that people are rediscovering and getting reintroduced to. So it's causing the card to spike. That also makes me hope that eventually the card will come back down. Because, like I said, it's not a new interaction. People are already aware of this. It probably goes in and out of favor. And then maybe I can get some Squandered Resources for less than $50 in 6 months or something. We'll see. I don't know if you learned anything interesting about Gitrog.
I was thinking that it was in the one commander deck, but I'm looking and I guess I was wrong.
Okay.
So I was gonna say maybe people are buying it because people like modify commander decks. They like buy one of the precons and then they, you know, put other stronger cards into it. So maybe they're still doing that because there's a black green deck. So maybe, part of it is that they want to get that in
Level it
there. I
up.
don't know.
Level it up a little bit.
Yeah, but the fact that Squandered Resources is going up right now too probably means it's more of like that combination in older school decks, right?
I pulled up this Hipsters of the Coast article on my other computer. Hipsters of the Coast, it was an article called Squandered Jund, written by Aaron Gazaniga at AARONGAZZANIGA on Twitter. And this was published April 19th, 2016 or 2016. So this is older than I thought even. And I bet that's what is responsible for this initial. So prior to 2016, Squandered Resources was available for like 50 cents to $1. And then right here, 2016,
Oh,
February, March, April, boom, 10Xs. That's right when this article was written, Squandered Jund, April 19, 2016. So this is, I bet, at the beginning of people building these Gitrog decks, working Squandered Resources into Gitrog. And then it's never been that cheap since. Damn it. Damn it, Alex. We could have loaded up on Squandered Resources in 2015. If only we were playing back then.
could have loaded up on a lot more of that more back in 2015.
Yes, that's true. I wouldn't have
There's lots of
necessarily
like
targeted Squandered
Arabian
Resources.
Nights cards.
Yeah, I wouldn't have necessarily targeted Squandered Resources above many other things. But that's ProsBloom. That's Squandered Resources. That is the Gitrog Monster. that's all I have to say for ProsBloom right now. We'll probably get deeper into ProsBloom, especially into pre-modern ProsBloom in some future episodes, because I know there are some people out there that are modifying the ProsBloom deck to include some powerful cards in the pre-modern card pool that simply weren't available in, this Mirage and Mirage Visions constructed format. So there are
Yeah.
some new things that you can do in ProsBloom. The core of the combo is still the same. There's still Cadaverous Bloom, Squandered Resources, Natural Balance. Not even sure if they use Prosperity any longer. They might just be called like Bloom Drain decks. Still generate a bunch of mana, drain life, but I don't know that you need to use Prosperity for the card draw anymore. There might be some other stuff out there. Anywho, that's a future episode. Now on to segment 2 of episode 97. Alex, this is the segment that I'm calling Something New, Bloomburrow. We're going to talk a little bit about Bloomburrow, cover some of the flavor of the set, some of the themes, maybe a little bit about the plane, maybe some of the mechanics, and we're going to take a look at some of the cards. I haven't really looked at anything from Bloomburrow, but Alex, I know you've been looking through some of it. So you can point out some of the things that you think are most of interest. I'm going to pull up the Bloomburrow wiki. Do you think I should start by
Sure.
pulling up the Bloomburrow wiki, MTG wiki? I'm also going to close some of these old windows. Maybe this will speed some things up for me. Bloomburrow, MTG wiki. It is the 101st Magic expansion. I did not know that.
Yeah, how come there wasn't a big deal about the 100th?
That's because the next thing I was going to say was, if you asked me what the 100th was, I don't know.
What was, I guess, probably Assassin's Creed? Is it
Are they
immediately
considering
before
that
that?
an expansion? Because that was a Universes Beyond. Like I don't know how they're
Oh, I
counting
see.
this stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But there's been so much stuff that has come out lately that like I can't even tell you what the
Yeah.
100th was.
Right before that, it was Outlaws of Thunder Junction and Murders at Karlov Manor. So,
Murders of Karlov Manor.
yeah.
Yeah, you think that would have been a bigger deal, the 100th expansion set. It would have had some kind of party. Uh, you were lagging a little bit too. I don't know if I'm lagging at the same time.
No, you were okay.
Okay.
We're taking turns, I guess.
You're just breaking up a little bit. I mean, I could hear you, but set details. You mentioned to me that you knew something about the plane that this is set on. I see it right here. It's set on the plane of Bloomburrow, a world of cute anthropomorphic animals with no humans in it, full of squirrels, frogs, mice, and rabbits. It's a plane
In
in which even the smallest creatures can have a big impact. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, in fact, based on the creature list, I think, I'm not sure if I have all of them here, but it includes badgers, bats, bears, birds, boars, cats, crabs, coyotes, elk, frogs, hamster, insect, lizard, mole, mouse, otter, possum, rabbit, raccoon, rat, skunk, snake, squirrel, turtle, weasel, wolf, and wolverine.
That's it?
That's it. There's some more too, but they aren't critters really. I think there's like elementals and there's some other stuff. There's a giant. Uh, I had to stop pluralizing them partway through because I was getting confused.
There is a giant. Is it a giant what? It can't be a giant human. A
No, it's like a
giant.
giant, and it I forget what it was called, but it's like it has like it's called like land cloak giant or something weird like that, and it's realm cloak, and it's like pulling up the ground and like wearing it like a coat.
Land coat? A giant that pulls up the land
We'll
and wears
see.
it
We'll
like a
find
coat?
it later. I can't
Is that
remember
what
what
you
it.
said though? Land coat?
Yeah, yeah. It's like he's pulling the actual earth up and wearing it like a coat.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it looked cool.
I'll find it. I'll find it later. There are some I'm seeing some reprints. This is what I get excited about when a new set comes out. What are they reprinting? And is it something that is pre-modern, legal, and expensive? And can I now get it cheaper since it's being reprinted? It looks like no. Reprints here, I'm seeing listed Swords to Plowshares, Sylvan Tutor, I don't know which other ones. Relentless Rats is a reprint. But I didn't come across any like exciting pre-modern legal reprints necessarily. Themes and mechanics. You mentioned there were a lot of new mechanics in this set. Do you know much about the new mechanics?
I read a few of them. There's a lot, so I don't know if we want to go through all of them. Offspring is probably worth mentioning for sure. I think it's maybe one of the more popular ones. It allows you to pay more when casting a creature, and then you end up creating. It calls them 1/1 copies of the creature. So it's like a 1/1 creature, but it has the same name and type of the
Okay.
creature that you were originally casting. So it's a way to like boost more small creatures into play.
And its
But
abilities
also,
are still in. I see that its abilities are still in full effect. So
yes,
it comes
yeah,
as
yeah.
a 1/1, but if it has some ability, you're
Right. It's
1/1.
not just a token. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Gift I thought was an interesting one. Um, there's an extra cost when you cast a spell. I think it's optional. If it says if you give a certain advantage to the opponent. So you can basically let your opponent draw a card or create a 1/1 fish token as you play your spell. And if you do that, it like makes your spell stronger, if I
Okay.
understand it correctly.
Okay.
Which I think is neat in group play, like in a commander game, that would be kind of fun.
That adds new layers to like group hug decks too.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
It's almost like a group hug kicker,
Hmm.
almost.
Hmm. So yeah, those two are pretty cool.
Okay, offspring and gift. Let's look at a couple of things on the wiki. You mentioned this color pair, these color pairs that are associated with a creature type.
Yeah, for every pair of two colors, like white, blue, blue, black, etc., they've kind of picked a creature type. So white, blue is birds, red, green is raccoons, green, white is rabbits. Um, so that's kind of neat. It's just kind of like one of the flavor things they've done for the set.
I wonder why it has these terms, these phrases to the right of each creature type, like rats, it says threshold control
I think it's just like the types of abilities they have,
that are associated with the rats in the set.
or yeah, like how they fit into certain deck strategies. Like rabbit says tokens go wide. I think a lot of the rabbits
Mostly
have
go
that
wide.
offspring mechanic,
Yeah.
maybe.
Bats have the vampiric
Yeah, yeah. Which
lifelink
is
type.
cool, by the way. I'm glad that they made bats black and white in this, and they added a few cool bats. And it's some nice support for vampires and for bats, I think. It's kind of cool.
And then you saw some cycles that you liked too. There's a number of cycles in
There's a
Bloomburrow. There's quite
bunch.
a few
Yeah.
here, but there were a couple in particular.
Yeah, the one thing they're doing in this set is they have these things called calamity beasts, which are these like big, serious, crazy monsters that are like terrorizing the realm, and all the little other creatures are kind of trying to fight against them and stuff. Um, yeah, there's one for each color.
Usually on the MTG Wiki, if you just hold your cursor over the link,
Yeah,
the card name, it pops up, but it's not doing that yet. I wonder if it's because it's new and like the site hasn't been linked, like it
that
has
that's
the name
probably it.
hasn't been linked to the card yet.
Because I don't think these are up in like Gatherer yet. Um,
Monocolored legendary calamity beasts. I wonder if I can select them here somehow. Here being the card image gallery, the Bloomburrow card image gallery on magic.wizards.com. What are
try
they called
doing
again, Alex?
treatments or maybe subtypes.
Can I choose a creature?
Yeah,
A creature, and then I don't know. They're called calamity beasts, but I don't know if they're all beasts.
try it. See if you end up with five.
Selecting the beast, creature, beast. They said they were legendary too. No, it just gives me two.
Okay.
Creature,
Get rid of beasts and go to the treatments and
art
pick
card,
the
borderless, default, extended art, full art, raised foil, showcase, traditional.
that doesn't help. I'm looking for the thing. They have a special thing in this set that's like field sketches of creatures. Um,
All
you picked
rarities.
you picked multicolor. That won't help.
What did you say?
You picked multicolor.
I know. Well, they called
Okay.
them legendary, so I
Yeah,
figured
they're
they.
all monocolor though.
Oh, they're monocolor?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Let's just look at them here. Bez of the
Yeah.
Bounding Spring. Can I type in the specific? Yes, I can. Beza.
Oh, it's right
Beza
there.
the Bounding Spring.
That one's an elk.
Two colorless, two white. Legendary creature, 4/5. When it enters, create a treasure token. If an opponent controls more land than you, you gained 4 life if an opponent has more life than you. Create two 1/1 blue fish creature tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than you. Draw a card if an opponent has more cards in hand than you. So almost
Yeah.
like a reverse balance type creature thingy.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Cool. I
Let's
like the art on these. It's awesome. Elk that's like sprouting all kinds of stuff.
Base of the Bounding Spring.
Yeah.
Calamity Beasts. I wonder why they're called Calamity Beasts. 5 mythic monocolored legendary creatures that have more than one colored mana symbols in their mana cost. With the exception of Dragonhawk, they're elementals with
Hmm.
large power, toughness, and a befitting creature type that is a relatively large animal. They represent some of Bloomburrow's major calamities. I don't quite understand where the major calamity
Like
fits in.
natural disasters, think.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's
Fires,
what I would think of when
floods.
I hear like
I
uh
don't know what the white one is though.
calamity. I don't look at this
Yeah, I know.
card and think calamity from either the art or the effects. So that's I'm just a little bit
Yeah,
confused
that
there.
one's a little weird. I'm not sure about that one. This one's
Blue,
pretty cool looking. The blue one. I saw it released the other day.
Eluge, the Shoreless Sea.
Cool name too.
One colorless, three blue, legendary creature, elemental fish, star star. Power and toughness equal to the number of islands you control. When it enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land if an island in addition to its other types for it's an island in addition to its other types for as long as it has a flood counter on it. Okay, so that benefits you. It doesn't necessarily like you could use it to benefit you. I was thinking it would like destroy your opponent's land or something, but not necessarily. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue or one colorless less to cast for each land you control with the flood counter on. Okay, so it could be a significant mana reducer too.
Yeah, yeah. I like that its name sounds like deluge and it's flood themed. Uh,
Deluge, the
both the
shoreless.
arts are cool. Yeah, and that one on the left is this, they have this sketchbook treatment or like field note treatment, I think it's called.
This is the one that immediately drew got my attention, but like the more I look at the actual art here, the more I
Yeah,
like this one too. If only it was in a different frame, like the
yeah.
frame, man.
Bad frame, but the art's really cool on it.
Yeah.
That's scary. If you're in that boat. Woo.
Maha.
So this
It's
one,
Feathers Knight. I know almost no Bloomburrow cards, but I have definitely seen Maha.
yes, this is one of the most popular cards so far, it looks like in pre-release. It was I saw it up yesterday for they were saying it was like 60 or 80 bucks or something.
Oh lordy.
It looks like it's hot right off, right off the bat. Um, but I saw this and I immediately was like, wow, that's a cool ability. It's three colorless, two black, legendary creature, elemental bird, 6/5 flying trample. It has ward, discard a card. So whenever your opponent, I think, tries to target it with a spell or ability, they have to discard a card in order to do that, if I understand correctly. And then creatures your opponents control have base toughness 1, which is pretty sweet,
Yeah.
I think.
Especially because there's all these like widespread ping effects in black. We talked about Plague Spitter
Mhm,
the other day when we saw this
mhm.
card and
Pestilence, pestilence
Pestilence.
type
Yeah, things
effects.
with
Yeah.
pestilence abilities.
Yeah, so I like this card. It's pretty cool.
It
By
is.
the way, these the field note ones, they act sort of like a scene. You can set them next to each other and the background art connects from card
Okay.
to card, which is cool.
Maha. Dragonhawk. Fate's Tempest is the red one. Dragonhawk. Dragonhawk. 3 colors, 2 red, legendary creature, bird, dragon, 5/5 flying. When it enters or attacks, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. You may play those cards until your next end step. At the beginning of your next end step, Dragonhawk deals 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that are still exiled. So,
Okay.
gives you some card advantage if you can play them. Even if you can't play them, it does damage to your opponent
Okay.
upon enter.
Yeah.
Not upon ETB any longer, upon enter.
Yeah,
So
they've
I hate
changed
it.
that.
And then
And
the
then the
last
last
one,
one, sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
Lumra, Bellow of the Woods. This has been kind of another popular art that they've been showing off. It comes in the raised foil, which is one of the treatments in this set. And it's a guest art. That one's a guest art by someone
Okay.
who I don't know, a famous artist who I was unaware of.
I like it a lot. Mitsuhiro Arita. I'm not familiar either, but that's awesome.
Looks like he's done a lot of other like trading card game art, like some Pokemon stuff.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, pretty cool.
It is Star Star. What's the Star Star in this case? Vigilance and reach. Power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters, mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Oh, that's cool.
The Gitrog Monster, Squandered Resources, Lumra, Bellow of the Woods deck. Get all your lands
Yeah, yeah.
back.
I like that it's a bear with reach. That's pretty cool, having vigilance and reach.
Okay. And then you mentioned this is a different kind of cycle.
Yeah, I thought we should mention this because it seems like one of the more unique things to this set that's fitting to the flavor and are also kind of cool. Each one of these they're called seasons. Trying to think where to start since we don't see the pictures, but
I'll just start here. 5 mythic
okay.
modal spells that cost XMM and use paw print symbols on the various modes. Each mode can be chosen more than once, but the total paw print value of modes that are chosen cannot exceed 5. We'll pull up the first one so we can see an example. Season of the Burrow. Season of the Burrow.
Burr. Yeah.
Season Burrow.
I don't know how good these will be. I don't have a good sense for what's strong enough.
I'm still selecting
New
creature
cards,
here. That's why.
but I do like how they work. And they all have like cool art.
That's
And so
very
I
cool.
just think they're pretty interesting. But this one is 3 colorless, 2 white sorcery, and then you choose up to 5 paw prints worth of modes. And you can choose the same one more than once. So for 1 paw print, you can create a 1/1 white rabbit token. For 2, you can exile target non-land permanent and its controller draws a card. And for 3, you can return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it. So
Nice.
you could create 5/1/1 white rabbit creatures by spending 1 paw 5 times, or you could combine the 2 paw and the 3 paw effect, various combinations of those. So I like that flexibility
Mm-hmm.
in the spell.
I wonder if the paws are always equal to the mana value.
All of them are 5 casting cost, and all of them are 5 paws, I believe.
Okay. What was the next one called? Season of Weaving. That's the blue one. Allows you to draw cards, create a token of an artifact or creature you control, return a non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand.
Return each non-land, non-token permanent.
Return each non-land, non. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
big bounce effect. And by
Yeah.
the way, this one I think I was wrong. This is the only one that's not 5 mana. It's 6 mana, I think, because of the draw card ability for one paw.
Season of Loss. That sounds black. That
Yeah,
sounds
it's
black
pretty
to
cool
me.
too. Cool art.
Each player sacrifices a creature. One paw. Two paw is draw a card for each creature you controlled that died this turn. That could get nasty. And
Yeah, and
three
you could use
paw
it
is
twice too, so that's pretty cool.
three paws. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Okay.
Okay.
Green. Season of the Bold. No, that sounds red. Season of the Bold.
You're right. We have for one, create a tapped treasure token. For two, exile the top two cards of your library until the end of your next turn, you may play them. And for three, until the end of your next turn, whenever you cast a spell, Season deals 2 damage to up to one target creature.
This seems to be a common. We've seen this now in multiple red cards where you
Yeah, it seems a
exile
lot of new
cards from your
cards
library,
seem to do this, where yeah, you put cards aside and then can play them.
and then you can play them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I quite like this non-borderless art. That's very
Yeah, isn't it cool? It's like,
yes.
I don't know what the style is, how you would describe that.
I don't know, but I like it a lot. That
Mhm.
is Eli Manaya. Eli Manaya.
Yeah, the black one has I think they all have like the non-special art. It's kind of like that. It's kind of that sketchy, angular kind of patchwork art.
And then the green is Season of Gathering. I was going to guess Season of the Harvest or something like that, but
Hmm.
no. Season
Hmm.
of Gathering.
Pretty cards, both of these. Oh, this is also 6 mana. Sorry, so I was totally wrong.
You're
Uh,
close enough.
yeah. One paw print is put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. It gains vigilance and trample until end of turn. Two paw is choose artifact or enchantment, destroy all permanents of the chosen type. And for three, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control.
That's nice. I got some green card draw. I always like to see some green card draw.
Hmm.
I don't have much green card draw available to me in pre-modern, but that's just the way green used to be. Oh well. Nowadays, green can just do all this stuff that's not supposed to do. I mean, what it always did is it was always able to cast large creatures, but now you can draw cards from those large creatures. Jeez Louise.
Hmm.
Uh, so there's a little bit about the plane, some of the mechanics you liked, some of the cycles that you thought were pretty cool.
Hmm.
I don't know if you had any other like additional cards outside of these cycles that you wanted to highlight.
It just
I
depends on
know
how
you
much you
like.
want to scroll through. I mean,
Oh, okay. I can go through the
yeah, just real quick. I won't, we
oh,
don't have to like read them or anything, but I wanted to point out some of the arts, I think.
oh, X out of this. So I am currently looking at all colors, all treatments, all everything.
Yeah, there you go.
125 white. I wonder if anybody collects these art cards.
They do. I see some of them on MTG stocks sometimes, going for a couple bucks.
Okay. Carrot cake looks tasty.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed the carrot cake. I think that was one of the cards they teased real early on, like months ago.
Carrot
I,
cake
I just
enters,
love the art in this set. It's so great.
and when you sacrifice it, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token and scry one. It's an artifact food for one colorless, one white.
Crumb and get it. Oh man, boy. That
Treatment,
Dawn's
showcase, and traditional foil.
okay.
Looking at this, I'm trying to figure out. I guess this is the showcase treatment.
Probably.
Borderless, Elspeth's Sun Champion. So this is a reprint.
Oh yeah.
That's right. They uh they turned some famous planewalkers into some critters.
Yeah, yeah. They're called, I forget what it's called now, visitors or uh imagine courageous critters. So they took some planeswalkers like Jace and Liliana and Nissa and they put them in here as different animals. I guess the idea being that as they travel to this plane, they get like put into the body of these animals because there's no people on the plane.
So we got an Elspeth. We got a new Elspeth. We got a goat token. I wonder
I
how
love
many
the goat
goat
token. That's
tokens.
looking cool. Generous Gift is a reprint from a recent set.
Okay.
I believe it had an elephant on it in that one too. I like these Flowerfoot Sword Masters, these little mice on the sunflowers, sword fighting.
Generous gift creates 3/3 elephant tokens.
Hmm.
What is the mana cost? Oh, it's a token. It's a token. Okay. Token creature? Oh, this is weird. This is probably not weird to people who know modern magic, but I was like, hold on a second. What's the mana cost for this? And I'm like, oh, it's a token. But I'm like, oh, is there a card that creates token mouse soldiers? But no, this token has a mana value down here. It says this token's mana cost is 1 white.
Oh, well, go to the left. You zoomed in too much, but there's a different version of that card. Yeah.
Oh,
So on that treatment, it shows the mana cost at the top. I don't know why they did that. That's weird. It's like they created a regular creature in token style.
oh, I think I know why. Maybe. I think the token is the offspring.
Oh, I see.
Because
Okay.
Flowerfoot Swordmaster is a 1/2 for one, and it has offspring 2 colorless. You may pay an additional 2 colorless as you cast this spell.
Yeah.
If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. Well, but that doesn't match up either, because this would be 3 mana to generate this and the token, which would mean this token doesn't have a mana cost of just 1 white.
Maybe that I don't know about that ruling at the bottom. I just don't know enough about how they do new cards. Maybe that's always kind of like the case for tokens is that they have a mana cost of one of that color or
I don't
something.
know. I don't
Technically.
know either, because it's
Like you
not
don't
here on the
use
goat
them to
token.
cast them. It's just in case something else references their mana cost, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're out
Yeah,
of our depths when it comes to
yeah, we're
modern.
we're all messed up now. Hop to it with some bunnies. That's kind of neat.
Create 3/3/1/1 white rabbit creature tokens. A
Bird
bird
cleric
cleric.
there. Down a little bit, there's a swan, I think. That looked cool. I saw this being
Hmm.
Luminous Brood Moth, I know is a reprint that like some people care about. It's in
Okay.
one of the commander decks too. Uh yeah, where'd that swan go?
Were there any pre-modern legal reprints? I didn't see anything when I very briefly
So
looked,
there
but I
are,
very
but I think
rarely.
some of them are in the commander decks and stuff. There's a Birds of Paradise, Salvation Swan. There you go. I
There we
believe this
go.
is a reprint from something recent that just came out, but I like the art a lot on this.
Another
Um,
bird cleric.
yeah, there's a Birds of Paradise reprint. There's a Swords to Plowshares that's a special guest treatment. There's a few. I think the Spore Frog is in there.
Oh, okay.
A couple
Oh, that's
things
pretty
I saw.
cool.
There's the Swords to Plowshares, which I think looks awesome.
Okay, here we go. That,
And the
that
mouse
does look awesome.
The mouse who's threshing the wheat says, I'm not as quick as I used to be, but the wheat doesn't mind.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I saw that up on MTG stocks today for $50.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's going to settle out at.
Yeah.
Definitely not $50.
I'll wait.
I'm assuming this set is going to be heavily printed. I mean, they know there's a lot of demand for it.
I saw someone say that it's going to be like printed and out for a while. I don't know if that's just because it's like a standard set and they know that because it's a standard set or what, but like it seems like people think it'll be around. I'm not sure though because it seems like they move from one thing to the next and I don't know how it works.
It is true. I don't know what's coming next. There's the Jace as a fox. Ledger Shredder. I'm
Oh yeah,
familiar with
that's
Ledger
that's worth
Shredder.
mentioning. They're reprinting Ledger Shredder with an owl.
I don't know why I'm familiar with Ledger Shredder.
It was a hot card from Streets of New Capenna.
Okay.
It has a hot bird lawyer on it. Bird hawk
Yes.
lawyer.
Yes.
I'm looking for the Mockingbird one. I don't know if we went past it or if it's called something Mockingbird.
It sounds like it should be blue. I would think, I don't know why. I would think a mock any bird card I would automatically think should be blue or white.
Oh yeah, it was just called Mockingbird. We must have gone past it.
Okay.
Um, I'll read it. It's blue X 1/1 flying bird bard. You may have Mockingbird enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast Mockingbird, except it's a bird in addition to its other types and it has flying. So you can clone something and give it flying and turn it into a bird, which I thought was kind of neat. I don't know how strong that will be, but interesting.
I mean, it seems highly playable, especially for like just a casual. I mean, I would love that as in a casual deck.
Well, and
It's
as
such a
power
cool.
creep happens, you have a lot of low casting cost creatures that are still really
Yeah.
powerful. So you could like blue 3 for the X, you know, copy something and give it flying. And if it's like a creature that's really strong but doesn't have flying, that could make it, that could be a big deal.
Anyways,
Deadly Dispute's a reprint from Forgotten Realms. It was kind
Deadly
of like
Dispute.
it was like a hot common when Forgotten Realms came out, like a $5 common or something, I think.
Draw two cards, create a treasure token for one colorless, one black. And you have to sacrifice a artifact or creature to cast the spell. Okay. I
Yeah, I don't
guess
know
in
if people are
black,
still using it. I just remember the name.
sometimes you want to
Um,
sacrifice a creature.
Fell, I think, is a cool card. I don't know if that was in other sets, but it's just one colorless, one black sorcery, destroy target creature.
Yeah, that's nice. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a reprint or anything either. Did it take them this long? They just it's a terror that targets all colors.
Everything. Yeah. Just like a better terror.
Did it take them this long to print a better terror?
Let's
Is it
see.
strictly better?
Fell. Nope. This is the only printing.
Bloomburrow.
Yeah.
That's really cool art too.
Yeah, I like the art.
They don't have a borderless treatment or anything. Come on.
We have a squirrel warlock over there on the right. That's pretty cool. I
Hazel's
can't read it
Brewmaster.
because it's behind the thing. Oh yeah. Hazel's Brewmaster. They made a lot of these squirrels like there's some like black squirrels and they're like warlocks and there's one that's called an osteomancer and he's like putting together a bone skeleton. I think that's pretty neat.
There's Maha. We saw Maher.
That
Or not
iridescent
Maha.
spine lasher I know saw some attention. It was selling or being pre-sold for a few bucks the other day.
Right here.
Yeah. It's a lizard assassin, one black, one two. It has offspring, two, and landfall.
Okay. That's a sick one drop.
Yeah.
What was I wanted to find this Osteomancer.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Osteomancer Adept. One colorless, one black, 2/2, Squirrel Warlock with Death Touch. Tap until end of turn. You may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter on it. A lot of new Bloomburrow terminology.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Foraging is something about like sacrificing tokens to do something. It's one of the new mechanics.
Yeah, I know it's a new mechanic here in Bloomburrow. I don't know if finality counter is something unique to Bloomburrow too, or if that's been around. I don't know what this is, but I really like this art.
Oh, that's cool.
Psychic Whirl. Oh, it's Eli Minaya. He we just we just looked at one of his treatments, I think, of one of the seasons cards, the
Yeah.
the
And I
the
mean, you
red
can
one. I
definitely
was like,
tell
that's
it's the same
sick.
artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Relentless Rats back in.
A black card called Saw in Half.
That's a reprint, I think. What else? What else?
I don't know if there's I don't know if there's anything else you want to highlight. I might quit
Valley
squirreling.
Rot color is kind of cool. I like the art on it too there.
TUV. Oh, some of your evil squirrels. A squirrel
Yeah.
warlock.
I love that art style. We saw the green season card in
Yeah.
its regular treatment. See, I think it was the same artist. It's like this like gray, sketchy kind of art. I think that's cool. There's a oh man, there is one black card that I wanted to mention that I don't know if we saw it in there or if it's under multicolored. Maybe the multicolor cards are separate.
Remember what it was called?
I'll try to find it. Keep going. You can keep scrolling. See
Okay.
if you see anything that looks neat.
Flame Lash. Gratuitous Violence is an exciting name for a card. 2 colorless, 3 red enchantment. If a creature you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player. Very red. This is an interesting goblin token.
Huh.
I would like to bombard with that goblin token. Hamster tokens. I've never
Yeah.
seen a hamster token before. I wonder if they're new to Magic. They very well might not be because there's a lot of modern that I don't know.
I think that mouse soldier kind of neat. They've been manifold mouse. They've been like putting that art up as a like advertisement for the set a lot.
1 colorless, 1 red, 1/2 offspring 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target mouse you control gains your choice of double strike or trample until end of turn. Okay, I like that as a
Yeah.
typo enabler.
Yeah, I like the different effects. It seems like the set will have a lot of effects to boost your other creatures of the same type. Move counters around, give them abilities. Pretty cool.
Oh, here we go. Siege Gang Commander.
Oh,
There's a pre-modern reprint in your goblins. Oh, I saw this highlighted too. This elemental cat.
yeah.
It's literally a creature plus a price of progress. 2 colors, 2 red, 5/4. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. And when it enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. Okay, so it's
Wow.
not literally a creature price of progress because it deals the damage to you too if you're running non-basic lands. But this is just a straight up mono red deck that will punish your opponent's playing non-basic lands. Sorry, a straight up card for a mono red deck that's just designed to burn and punish people with greedy mana bases, as some say. People, they're getting too greedy with their mana. That's the term I hear all the time. We didn't used to we never said people were greedy with their mana, did we? When I played a bunch of just dual lands, nobody ever said I had a greedy mana base.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, people love saying that now. Bird of Paradise.
Yeah.
Birds of Paradise. This one is I mean, I like this. I like this one.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's probably, is it the first warrior bird of paradise? The first bird of paradise that's in like a bit of a suit of armor?
Maybe. First one that's I don't know what I want to say. Not humanoid really. Anthropomorphic bird of paradise. It's wearing armor and
There's Chatterfang. Cash grab, not cachet grab, cash grab.
I get it. Doesn't make sense if you said cachet grab.
Cultivate. Two
Cultivate.
colors. I know that one. Two
Yeah.
colors, 1 green. Source, research your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal them. Put one onto the battlefield tapped, the other in your hand, then shuffle. Anywho, you were looking for a black card, Alex. Did you find it?
Yeah, it's under you have to when you're done with the greens, we can go back up and go to multicolored because it doesn't display the multicolored
Okay.
cards now.
Okay, Galta's a reprint, right? It's weird that they work to drag a dinosaur into
Yeah, that is a little weird. Although
What?
I think remember, some of these are going to be from the commander decks. The
Okay.
Birds of Paradise and the Giant Growth, I'm pretty sure, are both in the commander decks.
Okay. The giant growth can fit in a plane of like tiny little critters, but
Yes, yes, yes. But
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Tyrannosaurus, not so much. The
Greater
Gilded
good.
Goose is a reprint, I know that.
I know Greater Good's a reprint. Two colors, two green. Enchantment, sacrifice a creature. Draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then discard three cards. I believe that's a pre-modern card, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, from Urza's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Saga.
I think I remember the art now.
It's like a
It,
$15 card in Urza's
it,
Saga, so
it just had a spike, I think.
it did.
Yeah, okay.
It did. Doubled in price over like the last 6 months or so. Okay, that's good. Not packed. This set isn't packed with pre-modern reprints, but I understand that. This is a set designed to introduce new mechanics, new creatures, new cards, new
Attract new
spells.
players.
Yeah, attract new players.
Yeah. I'm looking for that giant. It's got to be coming up.
There's a rampant growth. There we go.
Oh, yeah, Rampant Growth.
Sakura Tribe Elder. This is a card I've never played with, but I hear people who play Modern talk about this card all the time. I believe it's
Yep.
nicknamed Steve. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
STE, but then where does the VE come from? I don't know the answer. Squirrel Nest and a Spore Frog. Okay. And Squirrel Mob. These are
Mhm.
pre-moderns. We got some cool new art and a borderless Squirrel Mob.
Yeah, that's cool. Angry squirrels.
Yeah.
They're armed to the teeth.
You were looking for a giant of some sort.
Sylvan Tutor there.
A giant that you believe is a green
I
card.
swear I saw it. We're getting down to the end of the alphabet, so
It's a giant. It's not a giant rat or a giant squirrel or anything. It's just a
no,
giant.
it's a giant giant.
I see frogs. I don't know. I don't see it. Okay, what's this card? Did you say it was a multicolor card actually? Not the giant one, but the black one.
Yes. That's weird.
They reprinted Baleful Strix.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a white card. It's called Realm Cloaked Giant, and it's in white.
Okay.
And it's a big giant wearing the realm. He's like ripping up the land and like
Oh,
using it like a coat.
there we go.
Yeah. I thought it was green because the art's green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 colors, 2 white, 7/7 vigilance. This has too many things I don't understand on it, so I'm not going to read the rest of
Yeah, I
it.
don't know how that works.
But yeah, they reprinted Baleful Strix, so I see that. That's very cool art, actually.
Yeah. Cool owl.
Artifact
Spooky
creature
owl.
bird, flying death touch. When it enters, draw a card, one black, one blue. This is the kind of card I like. Like obviously very powerful, but you don't play a Baleful Strix and then the game's over.
Right, yeah, it's still vulnerable. It has a lot of cool abilities for a low mana cost. It's a nice, like, solid core creature, but it can die.
It
I
dies
like
to
that this card is
removal.
called the Seed Miser. Camellia the Seed Miser. It's a squirrel, it's evil.
Oh,
Kind of a neat name.
Squirrel Warlock, one colorless, one black, one green. 3/3 with menace. Other squirrels have menace. Other squirrels you control. I should specify. Whenever you sacrifice one or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Pay 2 colors to forge. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other squirrel you control. The some of the older squirrel cards are going up in price. The Deranged Hermit is going up in price and stuff. I'm thinking when you consider all of the cool, powerful scroll cards they're printing in Bloomburrow, people are like, the kid's even going to want to put a deranged hermit into their deck. Is it even going to make the cut?
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? Yeah. It was
We are
speculation, but
we already talked about in one episode a card that was already like better than deranged hermit, and it was kind of a call out to deranged hermit. You remember what I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah, I do.
It might
Um,
even been called deranged something else. Nah, maybe not.
I know what you're talking about though,
Yeah, I wish I could remember.
but it's a
Anyways,
modern card.
talk about it later. Here's Decimate. Here's a pre-modern reprint.
Oh, okay. I like the
Flubs.
Flubs the Fool, how it looks like a tarot card.
This is a card I would just want to play just because it's named Flubs.
Yeah, I want this card just to have, like, just for
Yeah.
the art. I think it's hilarious and
I
cool.
don't even know what it does, but I see it's named Flubs the Fool, and I just want to play it.
It's kind of
One
goofy.
one green, one blue, one red, 0/5, legendary creature Frog Scout. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card if you have no cards in hand. Otherwise, discard a card. Okay.
So you have to really build around it, you know. You have to be playing it in a deck where, you know, your hand size is correct all the time for
Yeah.
using, yeah. But really cool. I love how it looks. That is a that's supposed to be like the buy a box promo. Still haven't figured out exactly how this works, but I'm pretty sure you just get it for free if you buy a box from a local game shop and they
Okay.
still have them left.
Okay. Is that so you can't pull it out of normal packs? You think?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe from Electro Boosters, but I think if you scroll down just a tiny, yeah, it says available in, and it only shows that.
Oh, clubs. Oh yeah, available in
Yeah.
buy book.
So I think
Okay.
it's only available if you buy a box from a LGS.
Okay. Have you contacted your local LGS, Alex?
I might go tomorrow.
Call them on the phone.
I might go tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a box of this. It's just so
When do the
cool. I
boxes
want to
go on
play it
sale?
sealed with friends and have some of these cards for the art.
Do I get invited to the gathering of
Of
friends?
course, Steve.
Are you gonna invite your co-host on the old
I don't
men
know. I don't have a lot of other friends that play Magic.
on the old Mage MTG podcast? Well, that's not what I want to hear, Alex. I want to hear that even if you had 10,000 friends who played Magic, I would make the cut in my top five. You didn't say I'm top five. I'm asking you
Yes,
if
you're
I'm
top
top
five,
five.
of course, of
Oh
course.
my God. Jeez Louise, Alex. Okay. I don't have anything else. I don't see anything else here necessarily. I mean, these are all, I'm sure, cool cards, but there's
A
nothing else
lot
that
we
I'm
don't
looking
know.
for.
There's just one or two I wanted to point out still, but
Okay.
I think we're almost done. We're almost at
There's the
the
Gitrog
bottom.
Monster.
Actually, not. We're just in G. Man, there's a lot of cards in this.
What were the a couple others that you wanted to highlight?
I forget what the one's called, but it's a black-white enchantment, I think.
Okay.
That Yigra, Eater of All, has been doing well. I think it's been getting a lot of attention. You don't have to read it or anything. It's just looks pretty neat. Green black
Elemental
cat.
cat. Okay.
Um,
Stick ass elemental cat.
that one I like. That Bat Cleric is kind of neat. White black Bat Cleric. 3/3 flying vigilance. When a bat you control attacks, you gain life. Whenever she enters or attacks, you may pay white, black, and gain and 2 life. When you do, return target non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter
Right
on it.
to the battlefield. Okay.
Yeah.
You said there was a Oh, I heard people talking about this too. I thought this was like I didn't know what was going on. I kept seeing people post pictures of Karn like as a tree with not much comment. They were like, "Oh, great. I'm happy that Karn is a tree." And I can't tell if people were like happy about it or not. I didn't even know if it was real. I didn't know if
It
people were
seemed like
making
people were
jokes.
making fun of it.
I
I don't hate it.
Like Karn as a tree.
Yeah, I kind of do too. I like him more as a tree than as a Karn.
I also
Yeah,
felt like a lot of people were like dogging on it. And originally, I didn't even know it was a real card. I thought it was like a meme somebody made. Like,
it's a little cartoony,
yeah,
but
I
it's
I do
okay.
dig it though.
I found the card. It's called Lunar Convocation. To
Lunar
make sure that's
Convocation.
not a card that is already in older sets.
Lunar Convocation is a what is this? A black
It is a
white
white black enchantment. It's
enchantment.
it's one black, one white. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, each opponent loses one life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black creature token with flying, and then you can pay a colorless and a black and 2 life to draw a card. So I don't know if that's good, but it sounds cool.
Does I mean it seems decent.
The
It's
art's pretty
definitely not
sick.
bad. It's only 2 mana. It does a lot of things.
Yeah.
It
And if you have
introduces,
this like life losing, life gaining thing going on,
yeah.
it seems like
Uh,
it could probably like, get amplified by other effects maybe, but I just thought it was neat.
Even if it doesn't, I mean, if you're just running like a life gain deck or something, a life link deck, and it's like
Mhm.
if this is out, it introduces a 2 point differential between your opponent for every life that you gain. If you
Yeah.
gained, oh, sorry, if you gained life this turn, each opponent loses one life. So it's not for each one life you gain
It's
this turn.
capped at one
Yeah.
life per turn. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that might make it a little weaker, but I don't know. I thought it was neat. Um,
It's great for a bat clan deck. I don't know how many cards are out there where you create bat creature tokens.
right. But this is the set for it. That there's at least a few, I guess. So
Yeah.
pretty cool. At least it's getting bigger, more available.
Okay.
Um, the only other thing I wanted to mention, I think, were the full art lands, which I think are kind of cool. In that if you can go to the collecting Bloomburrow if you still have that open, or you can just look it up in here. Yeah, just do land. Sorry.
Maybe I can't though. I thought I would just be able to go to lands. Oh, okay. Land.
Here we go. Okay.
Now, all
So,
treatments, full
we
art.
have
There you go.
pain lands in here.
Really?
But the basic
Okay.
lands are these full art versions that are seasonal. There's a spring, summer, winter, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall for each land. And they are rarity shifted so that when you pull a land, it's a 10% chance of being winter, and then like 20 or 30 of being autumn up to spring, which is the most common. So the winter
Okay.
ones like will be rare.
That's actually very cool. I wonder if they've
Yeah,
done this since they did it with Mishra's Factory in the Antiquities.
I don't know.
As an old head, that's where my mind originally, of course, goes. I go back to the Mishra's Factory,
Yeah, exactly. That's what it reminded
winter,
me of.
spring, summer, fall, but I haven't seen it anywhere else. And I like that they're bringing that back. And they're making the winter the rarest once again.
And they have 4 seasons of there's a special land in the deck that is called
Actually, I don't even know if the winter's rarest in Antiquities or if it's just the most desirable because people like the
Oh
winter.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if some
I
of them
can't
are like
remember.
whatever
Yeah.
uncommon ones or uncommon twos, or if it's just that people like the winter the most.
What were you saying there towards the end, Alex? I feel like you said there's something
Yeah,
else
I'm
in here.
trying to remember. I'm trying to find what it's called. There's a couple cool lands in here that are like, villages for all these little critters that are kind of neat. I think there's like a land for each color that represents like a little critter village. Oh, but then they have Three Tree City, and this has been seeing some love on MTG stocks already, 40 or $50.
3 tree. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And they have a different seasonal full art
Oh, I like that. I
odorless.
like that they're doing that.
Yeah. Pretty handsome card, huh? Is there a fourth one down lower,
It
Mark?
is, but
Ice?
it's not a different. season.
No,
Oh,
there's a winter
there
too.
we go. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
icicle style. So it's a legendary land. When it enters, you choose a creature type. You can tap it for a colorless, or you can tap it and pay 2 colorless to choose a color, add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of the creature
Oh boy.
types you
Okay.
control, creatures of the type you control. So playing your bat deck or your frog deck or whatever, 3 Tree City can pump out a lot of mana for you once you get several of them down.
Yeah. This seems quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a Gaia's Cradle? You tap to generate 1 forest for each uh creature you have in play, right?
For each forest, isn't it? Am I crazy?
Yeah.
I don't have a Gaia's Cradle, so.
Gaia's Cradle, tap to add 1 forest to your mana pool for each creature you control.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it was for each forest you control. I don't know
So
why.
this hits the battlefield, and at the beginning of the game, it's better than a Gaia's Cradle because you can at least generate a colorless mana with it. If you
Yeah.
have no creatures out, the Gaia's Cradle does nothing for you. Now, then when you start to get creatures out, you have to pump 2 colorless in this before you start to get any
Yeah.
benefit.
So you need to have, a couple creatures already.
You need to have at least 3 creatures out for this to be equal to a Gaia's Cradle with a Llanowar Elves on the battlefield.
Yeah.
You need to have at least 3 creatures out for this to be a Gaia's Cradle generating 1.
So it's not real good when you have 3 creatures out, but as you get more,
Yeah,
then it starts to get better. And, again, remember this set has abilities to create a lot of tokens of the
tokens. Yeah,
same creature type or to turn other creatures into that creature type, maybe. So pretty cool.
and you can use it to generate any mana color. Like it's not just restricted to green. So it seems like it's obviously really good. But also it still seems like something that people could potentially overrate because, like I said, you need to keep some creatures on the
Yeah, I don't
battlefield.
think it's broken. I mean, I don't know
It's
enough
not.
about the other cards
I
that
don't think
people
it is
play with
either.
it, but yeah, just first impression. Awesome art too. It'd be cool to have 4 of these just up on the wall.
Just frame them.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's most of the stuff I wanted to mention in Bloomburrow. I
Okay,
don't know a
Alex.
lot about it, but I know which arts I like, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Buy that box. We crack some packs. We draft.
Do it.
We draft over the Christmas holidays, maybe. We spend most of our time reading cards and looking up modern mechanics to try to figure out what the hell we're supposed to do. Or we
But
don't do that and we just kind of make up our own rules.
we'll learn a lot though. It'll
Yeah.
it'll be, it'll help us. Other people seem to like it so far.
Yeah. I mean, just flavor wise, it's a home run. I mean, everybody was excited about this set when it was first announced and we saw we were getting a set full of critters.
Yeah.
And even people like you and me who aren't even really that drawn to modern magic. I mean, we saw some of what they released early and we thought that, this is going to be super cool.
Yeah.
It's Magic players already seem to be drawn to it. And I think it's going to bring more people into the game too,
Yeah, I do. I think so too.
But anyways, looks good.
Cool.
Alex, I think that's the end of episode 97. We talked a little bit about something old, a little bit about something new. I don't know if you have anything to say to the viewers before
I
we
said
head
it. I
out.
said it all.
You said it all. I said it all too. I don't have much to say here at the end of the show because I'm dizzy. I'm severely hydrated. It's about 85 degrees in my room. We had to pause for a little bit. I chugged some water. I downed about 4 to 5 of these. I'm feeling more alive than I was at the beginning of the podcast, but I'm still in a weakened state. So
Your
hopefully I
toughness has been
recover.
reduced to 1.
Hopefully I recover fully. I'm going to continue to hydrate once we stop recording, and I plan to come back even stronger next week for episode 98 of the Old Mage MTG podcast. We're out.
Thank you.
I ain't gonna do this anymore. That's all from me. Goodbye.